Good morning, afternoon or evening to you guys out there. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Trollspeilet's trying to teach about riding. Today we have a kind of a special episode because it's an anniversary for our stream. This is the 50th stream we're hosting. I told someone earlier today that here we go, stars and all. I told someone earlier today that I thought we had done 12 because that's how my brain works. More than 2, absolutely. Probably 12. I was guessing, but that was wrong. So it's 50. So in a couple of weeks, our international tournament is coming up. Mm-hmm. And we are going to show one of the horses that we hope to bring with us to the tournament, and maybe he'll be able to do something fun and good for us. He has helped us out at our spring training tournament, but of course he was in training. He's still in training, but as you guys who actually listen to us already know, training is a process. It lasts for some time. I know that some of our viewers and listeners maybe don't always appreciate that it takes time to get better at stuff, but hey, that's the way it is, and we can all make some jokes about that. So today we have brought a lot of old and new videos of Rimnes training. Mm-hmm. We have named him Rimne because that makes it very difficult to say it in English.
So he's like Norway 2.
Yeah, so he'll be Norway 2 or 3 or something like that. Norway 2 will probably join us for the tournament too, for those who know what that means. Because his training is coming along quite nicely.
Shall we say something about the breed, once more?
Absolutely.
We have said that before because we have had several streams about retraining trotters. But for new viewers, we in Norway, we are having this special kind of horse racing that is like harness racing in trot with our national breed. And it's coming from agricultural horses like plowing horses, but it's a light version. And I think it's of specific interest for our Norwegian viewers, but the principles, the training principles it's the same for every breed actually.
Yeah, he's like kind of a light cob.
Yeah.
So he's able to trot instantly fast, and he can canter really fast too, and he's got a really nice canter to sit, only you have no time to do anything. Really unless fast. It's an endless stretch in front of you.
Yeah, but the good thing about this breed is that it's really positive. They love training.
Yeah.
They are usually quite brave.
Yeah.
And often well behaved as well, because they are trained from early age for like encountering a lot of different things. Yeah. Trailer trained and everything. So many people are using these horses.
Yeah. Added to that, the training, they tend to just be cold, kind of calm about everything. So they just have a look at it, and they're like, "Nah, I won't bother to care much about this thing." Mm-hmm. Which is, of course, a very good thing for us jousters, because we do weird stuff.
Yeah. So this stream and the next one, we're going to talk about 2 different horses that we train for jousting. And many of you guys are not, perhaps you're not interested in medieval sports and medieval tournaments. But I guess you are interested in training your horse to be brave, to be able to canter better, to
be strong,
flexible, but also to not be afraid of strange noises, like things that are happening in a tournament. In a medieval tournament, there is music, there is big clashes, rattling, their audience that is applauding and cheering and all kinds of noises. And
noisy, stupid riders.
And what we're doing is not actually training the horses to suffer those things.
No.
We're training them to become better in their bodies and in their movement pattern. And then suddenly, just like a magic wand, the fear disappears.
Strangely. Very, very strange how that happens.
Yeah. So we'll try to explain more about that. We have, all our streams are about this kind of training to get the horse over the back, get him into the German training scale so that you get rhythm, say it together with me now, rhythm, looseness, or relaxation, contact,
Schwung.
or like impulsion, and I have to translate in my head, straightness and collection.
Yep.
And many people think that they should collect the horse. That is the most important thing. We must hurry up and collect the horse. But you can't start collecting the horse until all the others are somewhat in place. Mm-hmm. So shall we have a look at the first video? That is, when was this the first one? When did Rimne come to us? 1 year ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About a year ago?
About a year ago.
Cool.
Here he is, almost straight from the racetrack. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad, but I can promise that trot and that transition is all right, but the trot isn't easy to sit. That's pretty quick.
Can you explain?
Yeah. First of all, just look at this, the what we would say tucked. Mm-hmm. So not the rhythm per se, but the speed of it. Chung, 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 chung. It's got some push to it, that trot.
He's very much using his front legs to sort of to pull himself forwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then he's by definition on the forehand.
Yes.
And then the.
So you say by definition. Can you expand on that, please?
Oh, you always ask difficult questions.
Yeah, you say straightforward things. I mess them up.
Then I have to just be technical. When if he's using his front legs for propulsion, then the hind legs are not doing it. Or the hind legs are just following, trying to keep track of the front legs. And then he's not carrying over the back because in order to carry over the back, the hind legs must stand for most of the propulsion.
Yep, or at least 50%.
At least, and now in this video,
the definition is perhaps something like the horse is on the forehand from nature. Mm-hmm. So when the horse stands still, say about 70% is on the front legs, about 30 on the hind legs, depending on breed and training and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I guess that if you want to define this, the horse isn't on the forehand anymore if you carry more than 30% on the hindquarters, because you are then improving the horse's balance.
Yeah.
Or you could say if it's better than 50-50. Mm-hmm. But those things are exceedingly difficult to measure. Mm-hmm. And where the feet are placed is just one of the variables you want to look at. But what you can see here is the horse wants to look to the outside. The neck is kind of just down everywhere in front and just in front of the withers. And the back looks like it doesn't really move that much. Looks
very much
really
down.
Stiff and very down.
And if you look at the hindquarters, it goes up, 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 up.
Yeah,
the whole bum of the horse is going upwards when the back is not moving.
Yeah.
The back stays down.
Yeah, and even, there are some things you can look at. You can see that how far underneath the body the inside front leg reaches before it takes off from the ground. You see that?
Yeah.
It will be under like the rear part of the saddle. See that?
Yeah. And this is
really far back.
And this is one of the reasons why people say that you shouldn't put the saddle too far to the front of the horse, because so the shoulder needs the room to move. Mm-hmm. But when the horse is on the forehand, then the shoulder needs to move very far back for each step. If the horse is over the back, the shoulder doesn't need to go that far back.
No, and added to that, there's lots of weird stuff going on with how the shoulder blade actually moves on the horse when the horse moves forward. So that's really difficult to say anything about. Right, that's all right.
Shall we try the next one?
Let's move on. This is also from early days, I understand.
Yeah, but now he's got a side rein.
He has a side rein and he's running even more.
Yeah, because this is difficult.
Yes.
But
and he's moving a little bit sideways.
Training.
Yeah, it's training. He's moving a little bit sideways, and there's some funky stuff going on in his back, and it's very difficult to say that because he's moving sideways, you can't really say whether the front legs are as far back as they were in the last video. But there's a definite bend in the neck, both to the inside and a curve in the longitudinal axis. So he's kind of shortening himself up. And he's got that inside rein. Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, because now what I see now is just he's struggling.
Absolutely.
And that is why I chose this video.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, the first time he tries with a side rein like that.
Yeah.
And what the side rein does is he's not letting him position his head to the outside and become stiff.
Yeah.
So then he has to choose another movement pattern.
Yeah.
But he's just frustrated. And he's allowed to be that, because we need to understand that this is very frustrating for the horse. He just needs to change his old pattern. He's been a race trotter. That kind of trot is the only thing that he knows.
He kind of knows that faster is better.
Yeah. So this is really, really difficult for him. So we shouldn't let him run like that for a long time. We need to show you how the horse struggles with trotting slowly.
Yeah. So,
but you can also see that the hind legs are more under.
Absolutely. More under, both forward, I believe, and also sideways, because this is a slight sideways movement. And that inside hind is definitely working harder. There's also a tendency to a bend, and his hindquarters don't bump up as hard, especially, at least not in every stride, as they were in the beginning. Worth to mention, there's only one side rein on.
Yeah.
There might be there's something on the just a loose end. It's just a loose end from the rein that's dangling around. So there's only this one, so it allows the horse to make all sorts of mistakes in his bend.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of freedom.
It's a lot of freedom to stretch his outside.
Yeah.
Because that is what this exercise does.
Yep.
Usually we do it a long time in just walk.
Yeah.
This one is just to show you how difficult it is.
Yep.
But usually we do a lot in walk, just to make the horse feel that he can stretch his outside, because he's been walking or running in with a sulky after him.
Yeah.
And then you can't do any bending.
Yeah.
So he's very stiff in his sides.
Yes.
So he needs to stretch his outside. And it's a very nice and easy way to do it, like with just a side rein on the inside. It's not because we want him to learn to pull on the inside rein, as many people think. It is because we want him to balance on his own on a bent track, and hinder him, like not letting him position his head to the outside, because that is when the horse is looking outwards in the circle, he's actually then the outside. Then if he does that here, then his left side would be the inside inside of the horse.
Yeah, the inside is the side the horse is bent to.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's important. So that's important to set these things straight when we're talking about the outside rein and the inside rein.
Yeah.
So let's see number 3. Here he is. This is the first day, says Ida. That is the first day when he came. You can see that he's looking to the outside. Yeah. And his bum is going up.
And if she pulls at the lunge line, he just turns. And even if he tries to bend the neck just a little bit, he's still positioned to the outside. Mm-hmm. You can see it quite clearly, actually. You see that there's one where he almost does it right. And here you can see there that he's positioned to the outside while bending the neck slightly to the inside.
And then he puts his shoulder to the inside.
Yeah.
Instead of, people are so afraid that the horse puts his shoulder to the outside, so that they must have the outside rein there all the time. But the outside rein, when the horse is not to the contact and it's not relaxed and he's not rhythmic, then the outside rein just does a lot of harm. So be careful with the outside rein in the beginning with raw horses like this. And there's nothing wrong with this horse as a trotter. Then they can't bend that much. But many people who are training trotters are also aware that it's a good idea to do riding training with them, because then they get more supple and they get more straight.
Yep.
And they kick off more with evenly with their hind legs when horses are more straight. And that means that they get more powerful strides and they run faster. So that is important.
It's really difficult to differentiate what kind of training is most beneficial for you. It helps a little bit if you think in terms of general physical preparedness and special physical preparedness. Those two categories will cover. The general physical preparedness covers just generally strength, conditioning, flexibility, and all sorts of those big categories that you can possess. Others will be balance.
Don't look at
what
me.
What do you call that? Agility. There we go. Power, speed. There are you can come up with. There are 10 different qualities. So all of those you can put in that sack that you call general physical preparedness. So a race trotter will need a lot of strength and a lot of stamina. That's what he really needs a lot of. And the other things he just needs some. And
suppleness,
but if doesn't need that much suppleness. It's like a long distance or a middle distance runner. You need suppleness within that stride which brings you fast forward. That's the only thing you need. But then if you only have that one pattern to move in, the strain on that one pattern will be very high.
Yeah.
So if you have several patterns you can move in, you can spread the strain over several different patterns, therefore it'll be easier. So if you have specific demands, like the conditioning needs to be insanely high, then you train conditioning more, obviously, or strength, or balance, or flexibility, depending on what you need for your particular sport.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a sport that has extreme demands, then focusing on the general physical preparedness, getting your horse to be strong and flexible and balanced and all those things. Those things are already described in the training scales.
Yeah.
So then you can focus on that. If you want specific exercises, then you can train specifically for those exercises. That's also fine. Then that falls into the special physical preparedness.
But all riding horses need more balance and more flexibility than a race trotter.
Yes, I would tend to agree very much with that.
That is why I always focus first on flexibility and back movement, because carrying from behind is important when you're going to put a rider up there.
Yeah,
and because he doesn't actually need, and a race trotter will be over the back when he's in full race trot.
Yeah, when he sat flat out. Yeah.
Yes, but he doesn't need to be that when he's like shuffling along in
no, then he's
slow
just
trot.
Plodding.
Yeah,
and nothing works the way it's supposed to.
So
But
this is important to understand.
Yes, so that's why Rimne, that's why his canter is fine if you let him canter really fast. Mm-hmm. But it's really difficult to make a turn at that speed. You don't
it's
want
not a canter anymore.
It's a gallop. Yeah, absolutely a gallop. That's what it's like.
So we want him to learn how to relax, learn how to be more supple in his shoulders and his back and his hindquarters, his hind legs.
Yeah.
So that they can carry more.
Yes, because he needs to come into another position. His strength isn't a problem. His stamina isn't a problem. Mm-hmm. He's strong and has got stamina from here to heaven and back. Mm-hmm. So then we focus on specific training for that. So we focus on flexibility.
Yeah, I always start with flexibility.
Absolutely.
And then and the flexibility exercises on the circle also help the horse to become more straight.
Yeah.
Because it becomes evenly flexible to this side and then to this side, and gets more flexibility in his hind legs. The left hind leg is often stiffer, and the right hind leg is often weaker.
Yeah, it's often the stiffness is often very local. Mm-hmm. So within the body, it's extremely local. So you can say that a horse is flexible, like generally, maybe too flexible. Mm-hmm.
Often to the right side.
Often to the right. I often talk about people who are hyper flexible. Mm-hmm. They are often very stiff in the muscle bellies. So there are a lot of stiffness in the muscle itself.
Yeah. Because
the muscle has to make up for what the ligaments and joint capsules can't do. Mm-hmm. And this happens to horses as well. But we can kind of downscale that and think like this. So if I put both my hands over my head like that, and I believe that if I put them here, I can put them about here, and I think they're the same. I know you can't see, but maybe you can see if you look straight at me. Are my hands...
Your right arm is like 10 centimeters in front of the left one.
Yeah, I can't feel that.
No.
I feel like I'm straight.
Yeah, but your right shoulder is
stiffer than the left.
All kinds of trouble.
Yes, it's way stiffer locally within there, and that makes it difficult. Yes, and that makes it difficult to move freely in that shoulder. Mm-hmm. So then we have to catch that shoulder, but it's extremely difficult to work flexibility with a horse. You're going to pull that leg,
and that is the reason why I'm using that inside the side rein.
Yeah,
because then the horse needs to move his outside shoulder more in a longer distance than the inside.
Yeah.
So then, and if you just patient, then just let him walk with moving walk, and the inside rein doesn't need to be that short. It can be just so that he doesn't look to the outside. If we look at that number 3 again, when he's walking, you can see that he wants to look to the outside all the time. Mm-hmm. And that is because we don't know which shoulder is stiffer. But if let's say that both shoulders are about as stiff as the other. Like they're
let's say
the same stiffness, same. You know, you can see that he's using also his underneck a lot to move his front legs.
Yeah, he pulls his legs forward.
So he's moving his head upwards to move the front legs forwards. Mm-hmm. So if we put on him a side rein on the inside that is just making him like look a little to the inside, or just preventing him from looking to the outside, that will help, and let him move like this.
Yeah, but you will have to find the length that fits for that horse at this moment, right?
And then you can shorten it a little.
All right.
When the horse is getting used to it.
Yeah.
Shortening it a little, and then you see what the horse can sort of be comfortable with, and then you stretch his whole outside, and then you change the lead rein, and then go the other way, and then you do the same there, and then you stretch the other shoulder.
Yep.
Because if you go straight forwards, it's almost impossible to make the horse move his shoulder more, because if then he will just tumble over his shoulders, because he has got no incentive to stretch the shoulders. He will just hurry up and move his front legs faster with shorter steps.
Yep. So
that is the idea behind that inside rein.
Yep.
So let's try the next one.
Absolutely.
And here is Ida riding. That's the first time she's riding. You can see still he is like lifting his bum very high for each step. So that means that this hindquarters are not carrying that much, and that is no surprise, of course. He's done a little riding, hasn't he? But not much. He's been like doing hacks. So he was used to having someone up there, but he was not like a riding horse. And you can see this. That is the first thing I see, that his hindquarters is lifting his hindquarters.
Yeah.
And nothing more, actually. And he's in order to lift his front legs, he lifts his head up and then pulls his front legs after him.
Looks to me like his hocks are virtually in the same angle all the way from when the leg hits the ground until it takes off again.
Yeah. So he's not bending the hocks.
Not at all.
At all. What about his stifles, his knees?
I would guess the same is true for them. That's why the bum bumps up.
Yeah.
Because the pendulum is necessarily longer in the middle.
Yeah. So that
pushes relatively.
So that is why you can actually see then by the bum that is going up that the hind legs don't bend.
Yeah, quite often when you can see the bum just jump up almost like that in every stride like this. Quite often it will also be, one of the factors will be that it's twisting from side to side.
Yeah.
So when the right bum cheek rises, the left one drops. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can feel that really, really clearly in the seat, and sometimes you can't. If you can't, and the horse still does it, it is quite likely that you're following the front legs of the horse with your seat, which is very common. So, and that is because quite a lot of horses out there are horses somewhat like this one, that haven't been trained to carry from behind correctly, and aren't either, nor are they bred for that specific thing. Mm-hmm. Some horses are like the Spanish and the Portuguese, and some of those horses are quite well made to carry from behind.
But I must say that I've seen many horses that are bred to be riding horses, but they have similar problems.
Yes.
And then you could use these methods on any breed, because if you have a horse that is stiff, Just do this.
Yeah, and remember to get loose in your hips, right?
Yeah, and we've been talking about that.
Next?
So,
Or
yes.
are you weren't done? Sorry.
No, I was not done.
Sorry.
But can we see that that video again? Because it's very important to... You see this horse, he's not walking like this because he's stupid or like disobedient or anything. It's because he's stiff. He's not used to. He hasn't got the muscles to carry a rider. Of course, it's no problem for him to carry Ida like this, but you can't start expecting him to move more correct. Then that needs training, and we have been doing training with this horse for 1 year, and it takes time, and that is so important that we must remember.
Yeah. So one of the things that this horse is trained to do is actually to keep the back rather stiff.
Yeah.
And there's reason for that. It's very important that you keep the back or the spine, if you like, kind of stiff if you want to transfer energy through it.
Yes.
And if you want to run really fast, you don't want your spine to be like a boiled spaghetti thing. It needs to be straight. So, but unfortunately, maybe in this particular case, when we want to change the training of the horse so the specific demands are not completely different from the older specific demands. So when we want to do that, now the horse needs to have another position of his kind of whole skeleton when he braces his spine.
Yeah. So it's important to understand that when you ride a horse, you need the horse to be able to handle energy from the hind legs, both when it's bent on a circle and when the spine is straight forward. Because when the horse is bent on a circle in the correct way, it's actually technically straight in this, when we're talking about straightness.
Yeah, the point or the definition of straightness is that both hind legs carry and push the same amount.
Yeah. So
both carry and push the same amount, and when the horse is bent as much as the circle it's on, the horse should be pushing off and carrying as much on both legs.
So there is a reason why we're using that much circles in riding, because then the horse will learn to balance without leaning inwards. You know, what this horse will do when he's trotting is he will lean over in order to handle the turn.
Like a bicycle.
Like a motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah.
And he needs to learn to bend so that he can take the circle with a bent body, so that his hooves are landing like this and not like this.
Yeah.
And then he will become more balanced also on the slippery surface. There are many good things about getting the horse to be more supple.
Absolutely.
And so then now I'm ready for the next one.
Very good. Good. I caught on to it, didn't I?
Yeah. And here is me. And you can see he is starting this video with...
He doesn't give a...
with lifting his back, so he thinks that he has to poo. And now this is a week ago or something.
Yes.
And now you can see that he's more supple. So what do you see, Pelle?
The first thing I see is that he doesn't pull his head up, and hence doesn't pull his legs forward, front legs forward as much with the underneck as he used to do. The outside hind leg seems to be more supple. The inside hind seems to still not really want to do its job properly. Sometimes he's not bumping his bum up as much or tilting it from side to side as much. And sometimes he is. So that's where the training is. But also he's much more closed between the knee and the belly.
Yep.
So the hind legs sort of look a little bit like they're clinging on to the rest of the body instead of being their own separate entity behind that.
Yeah, and isn't that interesting that we're actually not working with the hind legs at all?
So this is an important point. I spent almost 20 years trying to understand how the hind legs of the horse worked. I knew from my own experience with training that the front side of the thigh needs to be strong as anything if you want to be able to jump and run and all that sort of thing, because I had done that myself. However, that proved to not be consistent, because of course with all the training I had done, I had trained a lot more than just the front side of the thigh. But those were really stiff and really hard, short, if you want. So it was really difficult for me to open the hips up so that I could, what can you say, so I could stretch my femur back without breaking in the waist. So when we look at the horse now, we have understood, after a long time of understanding and working with it, we understand that the hamstrings of the horse that pass behind their bum, so they attach to the just below the knee, and they attach on the seat bones or on top of the rump of the horse, somewhere up there. So if those muscles shorten, they will push the hip joint forward. If the front side of the thigh isn't too short and the psoas isn't too short to allow it. Because so that means that when the horse now, as we can see quite clearly here, that the whole hindquarters have kind of been tilted underneath the horse. So the knees are much closer to the belly. So that little light area behind there isn't as open. That means that the horse is now more attached hindquarters to lower back.
Yeah, and it's
through the musculature.
Yeah, and it's especially visible in the beginning there when he's pooping.
Yes, it is.
And then the reason
it is also right here.
Yep. When I'm doing the half halt.
Yes.
So
and also he's much higher in his outline.
Yeah, and much rounder.
Yeah,
everything is more round.
But as you can see, all of you, that you have to ride this horse half halts all the time.
Yeah.
The half halt is bread and butter for the dressage, i.e., the trainer of the horse. The dressage rider or the trainer of the horse, which is the same idea.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm doing here and in one more video and in walk, and we're gonna see Ida riding him in trot as well afterwards. But I wanted you first to see what is different.
I forgot the most obvious thing. The rhythm is completely different.
Yeah. Can you explain?
Yeah, okay. One of the things you can see is that he doesn't bring his front legs anywhere near as far underneath his body anymore. You can see that he kind of grips onto the ground with his hind legs sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes he becomes like a light and springy and just bounces off the ground. But sometimes it looks like he really grips, and sometimes it looks like he starts to move the hind leg back too early while it's still airborne. So it moves back and then clanks onto the...
And that is natural. But when you're training, the horse is not perfect all the time.
Exactly. So he kind of errs on all sides of of balance here. So the front legs are they are much earlier to lift from the ground, and that means that there's much more room for the hind legs to grip underneath.
Yeah.
So I also said that the rhythm, he walks slowly and more stately, if you would call it that.
Yeah, and it's much better to sit on.
Yes.
Because it's and when it's nice to sit on, then it's usually more nice for the horse as well.
Yes.
Because then it's not like chunk, crashing into the ground for every
There is one more concept I need to try and explain. I'm not sure if anyone can see it, but this does happen. In the first videos, it looks like the horse is just falling forward and the legs are struggling to keep up.
Perhaps we can ask to see one of those?
We will, but not yet. So in this one, it looks like the horse is lifting himself forwards.
Yeah.
And when he lifts himself forwards, he covers more ground, even if it looks like the stride is shorter. It's really weird, but you can see that he covers quite a lot of ground here. This is a good walk.
And also he is not lifting his front legs with his underneck any that much.
Yeah. Can we look at one of the earlier ones? Is that one? That's the walk, isn't it? With Ida in the beginning.
Yeah, the number 4.
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So you see he's just falling forward, clonk, 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 clonk. And it looks like his strides are fairly long, but they're not. He's not even treading into his own footprint.
Yeah. True. So it's both that his shoulders are more stiff, so he can't sort of it's more like as I usually say, that the front legs are coming out of the same hole.
Yeah.
So they can't like spread out as much as he did. But you can see that the front leg is like, it's not walking forwards and putting its elegantly down.
He falls forward and it slams the leg into the ground to stop himself from falling.
Yeah. So it's like.
So if we now switch straight back to the other one again, it looks quite different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's so fun. We start with the pooping all the time. So.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is a thing that horses they start to poop more when they are lifting their back.
But now we're looking at the shoulders.
Yeah. He's lifting
opens much more between the front legs at the top here. You see that?
And he lifts his legs forward and places the hooves more smoothly down without falling down.
Yeah, more, of course. So we're not looking at perfection, but if in this one, quite a lot of the time you get the impression that the horse is still moving forwards over the front leg that just hits the ground. It's especially visible just about now. There we go. So you see that he's sort of just moving his whole body over the front leg hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, can you switch back to number 3 again, please?
3 or 4?
4, sorry, my bad. You see here you get the feeling that the whole body stops every time the front leg
and
hits
the ground.
And it
feels just like that sound.
Falls down and kicks you in the cobblers.
Like that it feels.
Kick him if you got him. All right. So that's what I had to say about it.
Yeah. So let's go back to that one. Yeah. Thank you. I'll just tell you what I do. And now you can see that I'm leaning forwards and I'm very light in the saddle and I'm weight in my stirrups. That's why I'm sort of standing on my tiptoes. And because I want to lighten the weight on his back, especially when he's doing his thing in the beginning. But I am, as you can see, I'm leaning a lot forwards. You can't sit back on your bum and collect a horse that is not over his back, because then you're just pushing his back down. So I'm having a lot of weight in my stirrups and I'm moving my seat forwards and upwards, almost like a little like a rising trot movement, because then I'm encouraging him to carry his back in the right pattern, and that is, if you lighten your seat there, he will want to lift his back and his withers in exact that moment.
Yeah, it's sorry.
Yeah, you can. You had a question.
Just an interjection.
Yeah.
When you move the weight to the stirrup, you obviously move the weight closer to the wither, and you can imagine that in the middle of the back is the place where you have the greatest influence of how tight the back musculature will go. So the more you sit towards the middle of the horse's back, the more it will tend to drop.
Yeah, because if you have the weight in the stirrups are fastened into the saddle this much in front of the where your seat bones are. So you and that's why the rising trot is so interesting and good, because then you're changing the weight in the saddle from the lowest part of the saddle and to the front of the saddle when you're rising up. So you get this tilting movement of the saddle, and that is very good because the horse wants to do this with his back when he's stabilizing.
Yep.
So, and also I'm doing half halts all the time.
Yeah.
Because, trotters, they're trained to go into the bit and really pull hard when they run. And he needs to relax and not pull at the reins. And then I need to just do a half halt, and now it's difficult to see the half halt, and then I have to release because I'm doing a half halt then, and then I'm releasing, and then you can see he relaxes in the release, because the horse can't balance if you pull at the reins, but if he's running all the time, you have to do something to make him stop running. So you use your legs, your seat, and your reins to ask him to go a little slower, and then you must release your reins forwards, not just let go of the reins, of course, but let him stretch. Give with your hands.
Yeah, it's just like helping your kid with bicycling.
Yeah, sometimes you have to let go. So
you can't hold them all the time. They'll never learn to balance.
It's the same. So, and also I'm on the circle here, and I'm doing a lot of circles in the beginning, just because he needs to stretch his outside shoulder, as we were talking about, stretch the outside of the neck and the outside of the body, and make the inside leg engage more. And this horse is also very good at the inside leg, outside rein thing. And many horses have trouble with that before they get supple enough. But this horse works like wonders with that. So then, of course, then you just start with the outside rein. It's no problem. But
but you didn't start with it. You started with only the inside.
Yeah. But now he's good
video. Enough. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Good point. So perhaps we could try the next one.
Yeah. Enough pooping already.
Yeah, I've seen it enough. And here you got the other side, and that's the left side. Of course, that is a little stiffer than when the hind leg is more straight. You can see the difference, and I need to. You see, I'm riding with with very wide hands.
Yeah.
And also the inside rein often goes quite far out to the outside, because it's easier to bend the horse when you have a very open rein on the inside, because then it's easier for the horse to understand that you want them to bend and to position the head.
Yeah.
And also it's very easy to give. You see?
Yeah.
Then I don't have to change my hand position on the rein. I just hold on the same spot. But I'm doing the half holds with wide hands, and then I give forwards with narrow hands. And here he needs really a very large half holds.
Yeah.
When the horse is really well trained, you could just close your hands, and then it's a half hold. Close your hands, and then you're relaxing your fingers, and then that's a half hold.
But with a horse that is young in the training, don't be afraid to open up your hands.
And you can see that sometimes
to the sides. It doesn't mean open your fingers.
No, open your hands to the sides. And here it's possible to sit with my hands like in a normal position.
For a few strides, he's way better balanced.
And then
he falls a little bit forward.
Yeah.
And then you try to give to allow him to use the weight of his head to rebalance, i.e. lift his back again. You can see that you're still light in your seat, still carrying the weight on the balls of your feet.
Yeah.
You can see that the boot sort of wants to be around the stirrup, that means that the rider is carrying weight on the foot.
And it's also like sometimes with this horse in this session, I was able to really feel that he was lifting his withers when I was like straightening my knees at this point, like now. Every time he touches the ground with his legs, there is a moment where he really wants to, or should be wanting to lift his withers. And then if you lift yourself exactly that in that moment, the horse will try to follow. It's just as if when you've been carrying something really heavy on your back and you take it off, you like feel like you're flying. And it's the same thing with the horses. So that is why the rising trot works so well. When you're rising up, the horse feels, and then he wants to lift his back. And then you could use that. And you see, in this, on the left side, he's very much stiffer in his outside shoulder.
Yeah, you can see that his right shoulder doesn't really want to. The leg doesn't reach the ground.
Yeah.
It looks like the leg can't reach the ground. It's not long enough. That's what it. And then the whole horse has to kind of fall down into that leg.
And then he needs to be able or be allowed to stretch more.
Yeah.
You can see that he's actually trying to pull the reins out. And I give the reins so that he can stretch. And it's so important to let them stretch sometimes, and let them stretch even down to with their nose in the mud. If they are able to do that, there is something that is very good in their top line.
Yeah.
That if they can't do it, there is usually something that is too tight in the top line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, shall we have a look at Ida as well? Because
sure.
Now there is just 8 minutes left, I guess. So here we can see him in trot. And you can see
this is a completely different trot from the one we saw in the beginning.
Yeah. And he is even a little tense in these videos those are from the same day, the one with me and the one with Ida. Because he had a session the day before that was really tiring for him, so he was a little tired. And then, of course, he gets a little more not so coordinated. But this is really good, I think. And you see that he needs a lot of half holds. But then Ida is trying to give him a nice stretch. Yep. Every time. Oh, yeah. And then he needed to poop again.
Yeah, he thought, he lifted his back, so he just had to go, stop.
And that that is a reflex that is often, and they relax as well. So the parasympathetic system is starting, and they're relaxing, and then they often need to do that.
Yeah. Let's cut to video number 2.
It's a different trot.
Yeah, this is a billion times more on the forehand. And he's running like a madman, sideways. And then cut to the last one again, please. Yeah, it's
the same horse. It doesn't look like that. And you can see that also that he's got this nice foam in his mouth, like this white lipstick. That is a good sign. They shouldn't foam so much that there is foam everywhere. That is a sign of stress. But this tiny line of lipstick along the lips, that is a very good sign.
Knowing Ida, I can see some signs of stress in her too.
Yeah,
a few signs of tension around the jaw.
She's being filmed, you know.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult.
But I guess you guys can see that every time she releases the reins a little, he relaxes and he finds his balance. But then he's starting to run and pull at the reins again. Yeah, good. You can see the parallelity as well.
Yeah.
It's much more parallel.
Yep. He still needs to come up much more in his withers before we're happy with what he's doing. But we're very happy with his development as far as he's come in the time that he's had to get there.
And also, if he manages to get his withers more in the place where they should be, and also is stabilizing in his back, he won't be running that much, so that you don't have to do the half halts all the time.
No. So that running is, you can say that when the horse runs, that's not it's not related to speed alone. What the sensation that the horse is running can happen even at the walk. But let's stick with trot just for the fun bits in it. So this horse, you can see that his legs sort of move faster than the horse does. He kind of hurries or something. There's something kind of off. So that means that the energy doesn't go forward as much as it used to, but he's still not lifting through the back. That means that he has now started to have the period from when the hind legs hit the ground until they're about the middle of the pendulum. He's slowing down, and you can see the musculature on the front of his thigh going. You see that? So that's where the energy goes. It looks as if he's running, but he doesn't move fast forward. But he still doesn't lift, so it's not lifting through the back. It's not the suppleness of the back that's taking up the movement and lifting him enough yet. No. He lifts himself much more, and that's part of it, obviously. But the relationship between what the hind legs do, how much energy, how much power, front legs as well, and what the back does is what constitutes running or not running. Yeah. When we say running, it's that, that sensation that it's not soft and you're not really in control.
But what she's doing with the half halts are so important, because if you try to just pull at the reins, pull him in the mouth, he's just going to be harder and harder and run more and more and more. You have to let go.
Yep.
It's so important to understand. Even though people say, yeah, but he's running. Yeah, but you have to do it anyway. You just do, and you see that Ida is not pulling hard, but she's pulling like a little lively, energetically, saying, yeah, you have to, just doing something. So, and then relax. Yeah.
Quite often I think of it as you have to first create some sort of tension and release it.
Yeah.
And that it's not dangerous or anything. It's described in all sorts of classical texts. It says, the hand stands still, yet it moves, whatever that might mean. And that might actually mean that you just close your hand a little bit, and the horse will seek into that closure, and then you release him just as he wants to go forward, and the horse goes, oh!
Yeah,
and then he has to try and balance himself out. And that's when you find self-carriage. That's how to find self-carriage. It's not when you do the half halts constantly. The horse is obviously not in self-carriage. But in between, there will be moments. And then when you have done a lot of moments, there will be bigger times, longer times when he's in balance carrying himself.
And you need less, manipulation to get him to start balancing.
Yeah.
You just close your hand.
And then when you get to the when it's correct, you close your hands. The horse should sit down as much as you move the reins back. That's a correctly trained horse. There's been a comment. Lena Jansberg, she was at a summer clinic. She says she can often hear her horse suck on the bit now. What a year of difference. Yeah. What a difference a year makes, she says. That's cool. Well done, Lena. Keep it up.
And we need to talk a little about what that sucking on the bit is good.
Yeah, what does that mean?
He's closing his mouth and like accepting the bit in a good way so that you get this foam. But if the horse is chewing on the bit, that is not good.
No. That's too much tension somewhere, somehow.
And like tongue coming out and like gnawing, like you hear noises from the teeth and stuff. That's tension. But the sucking on the bit, like the good tongue movement, that is a very good thing. Because we communicate with the horse's tongue.
Yes.
The tongue is in connection with the whole body.
Yep.
And it's so important to understand that communication with the tongue. But we have another.
There's another video.
Yeah, the last one.
One more. The last one.
Look at that! The first step, that was really good.
First couple of strides there, really good.
Yeah,
or
and
like
then,
the second
and then he's trying to run again.
Now he's running.
And then
the half halt is going on.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to listen, perhaps. And then it's a good idea to start. Yeah, give a little, because if you pull a little too much or too for long, then the horse will just run.
Yes.
And then this is also a good way to do it. Like, position them a little to the inside and then let go.
Yeah. So.
But you saw that first give with the reins. That was really good.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that this is a living creature. So sometimes it's difficult. And then you mustn't be impatient. You just have to continue and doing your job and vary the work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes when the horse is running, it's a good idea to go back and walk and try again.
Yeah.
Okay?
Looks good to me.
So then I think we need to wrap it.
Yeah.
Because we've been speaking for an hour.
Spent our hour again.
Those hours, they go fast.
Yeah. So if your horse's specific demands have been different from the ones that you want to apply, say you're changing the horse from one type of training or one type of competition to another type of competition, it might be that you have to change the specifics of how your horse is trained. So quite often you'll have a base to build on. Say it's a show jumping horse. It will most of the time be very explosive and have very, very well developed both strength and speed, but it might not be the most. He might not be the best at specific movements in the neck or in the shoulders or something like that. It's a horse that might be very specific towards one task, which is to jump really high and run fast while jumping high. The same is true for the race trotter, obviously. And the same will be true for different breeds. So some breeds are very strong. They will need to work more on flexibility. Some breeds are very flexible and might have to work more on balance and maybe strength. So this always has to vary, but some of the variables are always there. There are always those 10 with the strength and the flexibility and the balance and all of those. You can look them up. Search for CrossFit standards. I think you'll find it. We have a question. Helen asks, how do you balance positioning him into the inside with him potentially running out through the other shoulder? The way I balance that positioning is that I don't shorten him so much that he has to just turn himself all the way to the side. You heard we said about when Ida was riding now at the end here with when she was trotting. We were saying that he's a little bit tense because the training the day before was quite strenuous. So we were trying to see how well he could bring himself up. He wasn't really able, so we let him stretch much more most of the time. So he was trying to get into it, but he wasn't really able. And then Ida will position him too much to the inside in some of these instances. So the balance is about the sensitivity of your hands. who was it said that the outside hand needs to be a proper worker and the inside hand needs to be an artist?
Mm-hmm.
I've
heard that.
Some riding legend has said something like that. So you balance that with your sensitivity, and if need be, let him be really long, and then just do it very little to the inside.
And also, it's important to understand that the outside rein is the collecting rein.
Yeah, and it is called the passively stable outside rein. Mm-hmm. Just as the passively containing outside rein and the passively containing outside leg. Mm-hmm. So they're not really allowed to actively ask.
Now, we talk a lot about this in the inside leg, outside rein video. So we haven't got much time for this now, but you must not try to pull the horse backwards with the outside rein, because then it will become crooked.
Yeah.
You must ride him forwards to the outside rein. And when the horse is not able to take that contact because it's stiff, then, or running, or, then you need to find out how to make the horse relax in order to become rhythmic and supple so that he can take the contact. And then he comes to the contact with both the reins and the seat and the leg. And when you're starting with the horse and just to find the rhythm, it's usually not a problem that the horse just turns the outside shoulder out. If he does, it is not difficult to get him to become straight again when the back comes. When the horse is over the back, he never shoots his outside shoulder out. That is something that the horse does when he's not over the back.
Yep.
So, but I recommend the inside leg, outside rein video that is there somewhere.
One of the 50, sorry.
Yeah. So if you want to see how Rimne is doing at the tournament, you can come and watch. And go to hoopla.no and there are tickets, and also the Magiske Trollspeilet on Facebook. There are lots of pictures and texts about the riders, and soon also the horses.
The horses. Always the magnificent horses.
And welcome.
So, thank you guys for following us. It has been a great thing to be here and talk to you guys 50 times.
True.
Goodness me. Yeah, well, we will never stop. That's what we keep saying.
Imagine all the theory lessons that we have avoided because of this.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And of course, a few theory lessons we have had to keep because of this as well. Can I know more about that? Yes, you can. So remember always, ask if you want anything in particular. The next stream we have thought to dedicate to...
It's either Dalton or Mandarv, I think. Both of them are going to be in the tournament. So
we'll just have to
see what we can make of
hopefully.
videos.
One of the other jousting horses, hopefully.
Yeah. We always use as fresh videos as we can. So it's we have to just ask our horses what they can do, and then we show it to you. But it's going to be one of the jousting horses.
I want to
and
show
their
Mandar.
Progress. Yeah.
I don't know if I dare, but I want to try and show him.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll also talk a bit about the tournament for those people who are really into that.
Yeah. But now I think we have to say goodbye.
Oh, we have to say goodbye. Thank you guys for following. See you later.
Goodbye.